everybody, welcome to week 13 of Kleschka Picks, and this time I have a special guest, and probably my last special guest of the season. Come on over.
Alright, the last special guest, guys.
It is Kyle. You've seen him in some Kleschka vlogs, and I think that's all they've seen you in.
Pretty much.
Okay, so the Thursday game is Washington and Dallas. Last week, Washington played the Giants on Thursday night, the last Thanksgiving game, and they won 20-10. That was a very low-scoring game for a majority of the game. And they're playing the Cowboys, who, since Zeke got injured, can't seem to figure out anything on this planet. Without Zeke, they have just fallen apart. They lost last week to the Chargers, 28-6. So, by that fact right there, I think the Redskins will beat them 20-10. Kyle.
Alright, I'm going to predict, I don't think the Cowboys are as bad as what people seem to think, so I think it's going to be a little bit closer game. So I'm going to estimate the Redskins winning probably around 21 to, I'll give them 17.
Philadelphia and Seattle. This game is in Seattle, and Philadelphia is one of the best teams this year, and they won last week against the Bears, completely destroyed them. Seattle beat the 49ers, easy team to beat. We're undefeated at Levi's Stadium, so technically I think it should be our stadium, our second stadium. And yeah, but I don't see us beating the Eagles, even at home, especially with Richard Sherman out. Cam Chancellor is out, so our secondary is kind of depleted. And with the Eagles being as good as they are this season, they kind of seem unstoppable lately. I think they'll win 24-20.
Alright, I do believe it's going to be a close game. Was this in Seattle?
Yes, it is in Seattle.
It is in Seattle, okay. I just don't see the Eagles really pulling this game away by that far, but I do think they're going to win. So I'm going to give them 27-21.
Falcons and the Vikings. The Vikings played the Lions last week and won. And that was the first Thanksgiving game. The Falcons went off. Finally, Julio Jones had the big game that everybody's been waiting for him this season.
Julio Jones owner.
And they beat the Buccaneers. And yeah, Julio looked like the Julio everyone's known for years. And the Falcons are kind of heating up. They beat us. They beat Buccaneers are an easy team to beat, but they're doing way better than they were in the first half of the season. And I think they will beat the Vikings. It is a tougher team for them, but I think they will beat them 23-20 just because they've been hot of late.
Interesting. All right. I do believe it's going to be a close game. The Falcons are surprisingly becoming good again. So, that's like another repeat of their Super Bowl run. I still do believe that the Minnesota does have a better roster in general. Even with their third string quarterback, they're still putting up amazing yards on offense for some reason. So I think they're going to win 26-23.
Lions and the Ravens. Like I said, Lions just lost to the Vikings on Thanksgiving football, and the Ravens won, as I'm recording this, last night in Monday Night Football against the Texans. Now, the Ravens have been one of the most inconsistent teams this season. They look like they were going to be one of the best defenses to start the year, and that went away very quickly. And then the Lions have also been up and down. They're kind of like middle of the range, in my opinion. But I think the Lions will be able to pull it out against the Ravens. I think their offense is too good for the Ravens to handle. With Matthew Stafford being a gunslinger, Marvin Jones has been doing great lately. And yeah, I think they'll win 20-17.
Well said. I mean, I'm pretty much going to reiterate the same points that he did. So I'm just going to give my score. I do think the Lions win this. I think it's going to be 21-17.
Patriots and the Bills. The Bills surprisingly beat the Chiefs last week. Although the Chiefs have been just kind of fallen to the ultimate bottoms of how bad you can be.
Yes.
You can probably tell he's a Broncos fan by his hat.
Yeah, so I appreciate the Chiefs joking away their wins.
And plus, it's the Patriots. The Patriots beat the Dolphins last week, no shocker. And lots of you were getting on me because I said the Dolphins were going to score 24 against the Patriots. Well, guess what? They scored 17. That's only one score away from 24. The Patriots have not been an amazing pass defense this year. So, that's why I said they could get 24. But this week, I think it'll be Patriots beating the Bills 34-13.
Holy. Anyway, so I do believe it's going to be a slaughterfest. The Patriots are going to absolutely destroy the Bills. And I do believe they are going to win 28-20.
49ers and the Bears. the Bears were embarrassed by the Eagles last week. And I don't know if you can really call it embarrassed because the Eagles are a great team. In fact, the best team in football right now. And the 49ers, I just found out this news today, are starting Jimmy Garoppolo for the first time. Lots of people have wanted to see him lead a team since he's been the backup to Brady in New England. Now he has a chance, and I think he could do good there. However, I don't see him getting the win in his first start. It's a new team, new playbook, even though he's had a couple weeks to learn it. Trubisky has been starting for the Bears for kind of a while. He's gotten used to it. Plus Jordan Howard is their running back, although Carlos Hyde isn't bad at all. But however, I think the Bears have also pulled off many surprises this year. They beat the Steelers, and they kind of been better than people thought they were going to be. So I think they're going to beat the 49ers 21-17.
Oh, this is going to be a tough one. They're both pretty damn bad teams. I do think the Bears, though, are slightly better by either 3 or 6 points, I'm going to assume. So I'm just going to give the Bears the win 24-20 over the 49ers.
The Packers and the Buccaneers. Here's another game that could be a great game if everyone was healthy. The Packers played the Saints earlier in the season. Would have been great, but no Aaron Rodgers. The Packers played the Steelers last week. Would have been great, but no Aaron Rodgers. And if Jameis Winston was healthy and if Aaron Rodgers was healthy, this might actually be a close game, a good game. But unfortunately, neither of them are healthy. And so this is a battle between Brett Hundley and who is the Buccaneers quarterback? Is it Fitzpatrick? It's Ryan.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's Ryan Fitzpatrick. And yeah, so you just, from those quarterbacks I named, and then it just goes all the way down here. But the Packers did surprisingly well against the Steelers last week. They lost, but the Steelers have been a really good defense this year, so I'm surprised the Packers were able to do that well against them. And the Buccaneers lost to the Falcons. They scored 20, so not terrible. And however, I think with the week the Packers just had against the Steelers, they have some confidence, and I think that'll allow them to get the win 24-19.
But yeah, they're both. I believe the Buccaneers are a very hectic team. They're very unpredictable because they don't really have a set thing of I don't even know if they know what they're doing at this point. But the Packers are at least turning upwards. So I'm gonna give the Packers a win. It's not something I would bet on. I don't really like it, but I'll just give them a win around 24-14.
Did you know the running back Peyton Barber on the Buccaneers last week? He only had 5 touches, but he had 2 touchdowns.
See? Buccaneers, guys.
Okay, Jacksonville and Indianapolis. Jacksonville. I'm not a Jacksonville fan, but it's really cool to see them do good. But then they go and lose to the Cardinals. How? Why? And then what's the team they're playing? Where did they go? The Colts. The Colts last week lost to the Titans. The Colts, without Andrew Luck, are just having a terrible season. I'm pretty sure they just want to forget about this season and move on to the next when Andrew Luck is healthy. But Jacksonville has a great defense this year, great secondary. Their defensive line is called Saxonville. You know you're good when you've earned a nickname. We would know. The Legion of Boom and the No-Fly Zone. Mm-hmm. Although you guys haven't looked like the No-Fly Zone lately, and we have not looked like the Legion of Boom lately.
Yep, so they're bound to fall.
Anyways, I think Jacksonville will win 27-20.
I do believe Jacksonville will beat the Colts. I just don't know. I really do not trust Blake Bortles at all. He's going to choke away a lot of games this year, and I believe he's going to make this game closer than it really should be. But I still give the Jacksonville Jaguars the win, 24-17.
Your Broncos offense has been terrible these last couple weeks. In fact, most of the season.
Worse than the Browns.
And the defense, you just lost Aqib Talib. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's suspended for getting in a fight with Michael Crabtree, who is also suspended.
For 2 games.
Yes. He tore his chain off again. And I think the Dolphins are going to be able to beat you guys. Your defense has not been the same. And the Dolphins, I mean, they're not the greatest team in the world, but you guys aren't playing like the greatest team in the world either. I think they'll win 23-13.
All right, okay. I'm not as down on the Broncos as him, obviously. What I believe the Broncos' struggles was a quarterback play and just a lack of hustle from the coaching staff, it looks like. There's just something kind of off about them. They don't really have that tenacity that other NFL teams does. But I do believe with Trevor Siemian under center, they are going to do a lot better than what people usually think of. So I still don't know if they're going to win against Miami, though, even though Miami does have, I think, a 5 or 6 game losing streak as well. They're also winless in November, so are we. So I'm just going to give, I'm still going to give Miami the win, though, 24-21.
The Chiefs and the Jets. Chiefs, you were so exciting to watch, and then you go and lose to the Bills and the Giants. Why? Like, nobody's hurt for you guys. Kareem Hunt is still there. Tyreek Hill is still there. Alex Smith is still your quarterback. Travis Kelce. What's happening? Obviously, there's something wrong. And like I said in past videos, the Jets are not a team to sleep on. They seem to give teams competition. Like last week against the Panthers, they were actually winning for majority, and they almost beat them. They were 8 points away. And the Jets, they lose a lot of games, but they make them close. I see the Chiefs winning, but I see it 27-24.
I also see the Chiefs winning too. They should be winning by a lot more, but I just don't know what the hell is going on with the Chiefs right now. So I'm just going to give them a 24-20 win.
Titans and the Texans. The Titans last week, who did they play? They played the Colts and they won. The Texans lost on Monday Night Football. The Texans, without Deshaun Watson, actually have not been as bad as I thought they'd be. They did keep one thing in mind, and that is throw the ball to DeAndre Hopkins, because that is always a constant no matter who the quarterback is. And I think the Titans are going to win because Texans also have lost people on defense, and Titans have been pretty good, and I think the score will be 23-17.
Honestly, this game is more of like a snoozer to me. The Titans should be better than what the record indicates, but they're just not pulling through, in my opinion. I still think they're going to win by around a touchdown. I'm going to give them a 24-17.
Okay, next is the easiest game to predict: the Chargers and the Browns.
Crap.
Now, anybody that plays the Browns is almost guaranteed to win. In fact, they are guaranteed to win because the Browns are winless. And the Chargers found some confidence last week against the Cowboys. Phillip Rivers went off. I see him doing that again. I see the whole Chargers offense doing that. And the Chargers don't have the greatest defense in the world. It's all right. So I see the Browns getting some points on them, but I see the Chargers winning 31-20.
Just remember, the Chargers did lose to the Browns last season. Their only single win was to the Chargers. So I do believe the Chargers are on a roll, though, and I think they are going to destroy the Browns this year. Hopefully. Don't embarrass yourself, Chargers. So I'm going to give them a 28-17 win.
Okay, the Rams and the Cardinals. The Cardinals are very confident because they just beat Jacksonville last week, and the Rams should also be very confident because they beat the Saints last week. That was a very good game. The Rams, however, I feel like their offense is just amazing this season. Of course, Goff and Gurley, but then look at their wide receivers that are stepping up. Freaking No Name scored last week his first touchdown. I don't even remember his name. But then there's also Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods. He's injured, but they're all out there. And the Cardinals have just had an unlucky season. David Johnson is out for the rest of the season, most likely. Palmer's out. I see the Rams continuing to be dominant, winning 31-20.
I agree with pretty much all of his points. I do think the Rams are going to destroy the Cardinals. I think it's going to be around 28-14.
Saints and the Panthers. Panthers barely got away with a win last week against the Jets, and the Saints played the Rams in that good game. Ever since the Saints have found a run game with Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara, they have been dominant. Their offense has been scary, and they actually have a defense that keeps them in games and isn't terrible. So I think, even though I feel like they're going to struggle against the Panthers because they are in the same division and they are also competing for that division, I think the Saints will still win 24-20.
Oh, this is a tough game. I don't know if the Saints quarterbacks are healthy. If they are healthy, then I do believe the Saints are going to absolutely destroy them. But if they aren't, I still think the Saints will win, but just by more of a narrow kind of margin. So I'm going to give the Saints a 24-21 victory.
The Raiders and the Giants. Also news for this week, Eli Manning is not starting for the Giants. It is Geno Smith starting for the Giants. And back when he played for the other New York team, the Jets, he did not have the greatest time there. They thought he was going to be the God-sent child that was going to save the Jets. And no, that didn't happen at all. And the Raiders last week beat your Broncos. And that huge fight ensued, like we said, with Talib and Crabtree. The Giants are also having a throwaway season. Perfect example of why they're starting Geno Smith. So I think the Raiders will get a win this week, and I think it'll be kind of close. I think they'll win 23-17.
I do believe the Raiders are going to win. I think they're going to win by around a touchdown. The Giants just are so bad right now. I feel like they lost a lot of morale ever since they lost OBJ. I'm going to give
basically all their receivers.
That is true. And Sterling Shepard, who has
and Brandon Marshall.
So I'm going to give the Raiders a win. I'm going to give them a 18-13.
And finally, the Steelers and the Bengals. The Steelers beat the Packers barely last week. Doesn't make sense to me. I've said this before. They are the Rams of last season. They will beat the good teams easily, but when they play the really bad teams, they, for some reason, make it close. And the Bengals last week, they played the Browns. Easy win. So Pittsburgh has a defense that keeps them in games this year. It's pretty good. And finally, I think Ben Roethlisberger is starting to realize, oh yeah, I have Antonio Brown in the last couple weeks. And they're looking like the old Ben-Antonio combo. Le'Veon Bell's getting better than he was earlier in the season. I think Pittsburgh's going to win 34-13.
I do believe the Pittsburgh is going to win. They have been just absolutely crushing it recently. But I do know from past experience that the Bengals do give Pittsburgh a run for their money. So I think it's going to be a little bit closer to the game, but I am going to give Pittsburgh the win, 24-21.
All right, everybody, and that is the last game on the slate of Week 13. Thank you all for watching. Like, subscribe to the Kleschka crew, and I'll see you in Week 14.
Later, guys.
Audio Jungle.